Hello viewers, today I went to the thrift store, and this was not the same one that I usually go to, or one of the same two, I guess. Instead, this was one that I haven't been to in 2.5 years. That's mainly because it was, at least it seemed, like it was a lot further away. Today it didn't take long to get to it, though. And then eventually I just forgot about exactly what it was called and where it was. I did find something that first time I went there, which was a weather radio, but it wasn't that great of a radio. Although I do still have it, and it does still work, at least mostly. The audio is kind of distorted when I got it. Anyway, I wanted to get back there because I remembered they had a huge bin of AC adapters and other cords. And I wasn't sure at all whether or not that bin would still be around. And it turns out it was. Or at least, mostly. It had kind of been split into several different bins. So I managed to find a couple of things I needed. And some things I didn't expect to find there. So, the first of those is this Radio Shack set of replacement headphone ear pads. And this was 25% off. I have an old headset which was actually made, I believe, just 1 month after these pads, according to the date code. So, of course, being old, from 2009, the headset ear pads, the ones that were already on there, have degraded. I think it's like a pleather material on the surface. So as soon as I started using it, it was just leaving shreds of black pleather all over my face every time I took it off. But hopefully with these, since they don't look like they're made of the same material, they're just regular foam, they won't have degraded, and I'll be able to just replace the ones that are. And that's pretty good. And it is actually stapled shut. Next up, we have stored in an LED box some CFLs. It says used but still good. There's some dead bugs on this one, I guess. This is a TCP. Oh, you can hardly see it. Okay, this is a TCP number, or model, EDXO-23. The TCP number is 8CP2312. It takes 380 milliamps. It's a 23 watt draw bulb, or 100 watt equivalent, and it is the 2700K. In my opinion, that's the only acceptable color for an LED or CFL, unless it's warmer. It does have some yellowing on the bottom. The next one is an in-vision. I guess that's what that's supposed to be. Model EDXO-14. It is apparently the same thing, just the 14 watt version. And I'm not seeing a color temperature rating, but I'm going to assume that since it's that same model letters, I guess, to call... Gosh. What I'm trying to say is, since, just like the first one, the model begins with EDXO, I'm going to hope it's also 2700K like the first one. And then we've got, I believe, a second one of that. Yep, another EDXO-14. And they have some slight yellowing on the bases, but not much. This box is an EcoDumb LED box, like I already said. And I'm trying to find a date code. They came with a 5-year warranty. I don't think I've ever had an EcoDumb LED last 5 years. In fact, I hardly remember any lasting half that amount of time. Lasts 15 times longer than incandescent. Maybe if you get 15 boxes of these, you can use each bulb successively, and all of them combined will last the same length, okay. All of them combined will last 15 times the length of an average incandescent. Yeah, it says 13 years. Well, I'm not seeing a date code on here, so I'll just say these bulbs were marked for $4, but were half off. Next, we've got an AC adapter, which was half off. This one outputs 13.3 volts DC at 750 milliamps, and it's got a longer plug tip, which means hopefully I probably should test the output with a multimeter just to make sure it's not too high, but hopefully this will work with my 10 to 12 volt weather radios. I gave one that takes that kind of power supply to a friend of mine last year, and the one it came with, the power supply, had kind of a buzzy sound, which they said they were okay with, but I wanted to find a replacement for them anyway, so maybe if they still need one, this one would work for that. Then next we've got taped up, so hopefully this isn't super sticky, a 3.5 millimeter mono to single RCA plug adapter. Admittedly, I don't have an immediate use case for this adapter, but since I'm always using things with both of those types of plugs, and I have a number of different kinds of adapters and couplers for both of those connectors already as well, I thought this might come in handy for the price of only 50 cents. It's got an unusual green and white checkered twist tie on it, and it is slightly sticky, but especially since this is just a cord, that would be very simple to clean off. Looks like it's about 5 feet long. And it is blurry, but there we go. And I believe there is another cord in here. Here it is. This one didn't have a price tag on it, so they just called it $1. Which is kind of silly, to be honest, because this is so much smaller than the one I paid 50 cents for. But whatever, the average price between the two cords is still only $1.50, which is a good price for 2 audio cables. This is just a regular 3.5 millimeter stereo cable. It's only about 1.5 feet or 2 feet long. But I'm always in need of more of these kinds of cables. And lastly, we have a vintage Panasonic clock radio. This is model RC-6050. I'm not sure exactly when this was made, but it was made in the Singapore, and this is a very solid and heavy unit. This thing is built like a tank. And the main reason I got this is because the display is so incredibly dim that I should be able to use it in my bedroom at night without having it interfere with my level of sleep at all. I am extremely sensitive to light at night. Even if it doesn't actively keep me up, I notice that when there are devices with big, bright, glowing displays anywhere in the room, I just tend to have a poorer quality of sleep. So this would be great for that. And this was also half off, so it was only $5. I was able to confirm that it at least works on the radio portion at the store. As annoying as it is when the tape leaves sticky residue, at least it's not those stupid Goodwill tags that come apart. On the front, we've got a 2-year limited warranty sticker, something that looks kind of like RC. Maybe that's Panasonic's old way of denoting their series. And then it says FM, AM, 2-band, electronic clock radio. Panasonic. So let's start with all the things I need to test out on camera by plugging in this radio. And there it is. Can you even see the display? Of course, with the colon blinking, it gets a lot brighter when the rest of the segments are off. Here it is on high mode. Actually makes a good bit of difference, but it's still pretty dim, so I would suspect this has been plugged in for quite a long time. And it does look like it's been yellowed, but I think this might actually be very close to the original coloring. You can see kind of on the inside of the bottom. It's not exactly this yellowed almost color like it is on the top, but it's definitely more of an ivory, even inside there. This radio does not appear to have any kind of battery backup, which is good because then I don't have to worry about corrosion or tying up any of my extra batteries. But it is still a pain that you'd have to reset it manually each time the power goes out. And it looks like I already accidentally pressed the hour button because the switch was set to time already. We've got 5 switches, 4 buttons, and 2 knobs on the radio. The switches are the brightness, high and low, time set, time, alarm, and lock. I'll leave it on time. Alarm, off, radio, radio buzzer. So that's interesting. I guess it would do the radio and the buzzer, in case the radio alone wasn't enough to wake you up, I guess. To be fair, I personally will sleep through very loud sounds. And then there's the manual switch. I have no idea what manual refers to. Oh, I'm hearing something. Maybe that's the radio switch. Volume knob is pretty scratchy, but it feels nice. It's kind of stiff, and the movement is nice and smooth on it. But it definitely needs a healthy dose of deoxit. But alright, it sounds like it is working. Not sure why that's blinking so fast. So it looks like the clock display blinks at twice the speed when the radio is turned on. And what's kind of confusing is that I already reset the time, so I'm not sure why it's doing that now. That is weird. Watch this. When I adjust the volume, when the radio is turned off, nothing happens. But when I adjust the volume when the radio is turned on, the display was at least kind of cutting out. I'm not sure why it's not anymore. Hopefully you could see it before I picked it up. And now for some reason it's blinking even though it's still saying 101. So that is really odd. Oh well, it seems to not be acting up anymore now. Okay, anyway. Let's finish setting the time. It's got both AM and PM indicators, unfortunately. And it is currently 7:26 p.m. Let's do an alarm test as well. That's certainly attention-getting, but it's not super loud. It sounded kind of off, though. Something was up with the 60 Hz harmonics, I think. Doze is what it's called, or what it calls the snooze function. I'll go ahead and turn the alarm back off. So I believe the tuning is all the way at the bottom of the band. It's got a nice chrome bar along the bottom of the screen. All right, let's tune around some. Let me zoom in the camera.
The Super Bowl extravaganza.
Further spoke about with the Better Business Bureau.
I'm hungry now, and I want some pastry. So, what is this desperation? It's the first.
I'm Morgan Wood, your White House correspondent on the Black Information Network.
Well, that certainly seemed to be picking up a good number of stations, and one thing I love about this already is how the knob moves the dial very slowly. Take a look at this. There's one full revolution. 2, 3. That takes close to 4 full turns, full rotations of the dial. I mean of the knob, to let the needle travel all the way across the dial. So that's geared quite nicely. Now let's do an FM band scan, and I'll have to be even faster with this so it avoids picking up any music in the video.
Competition that's sponsored by. Popcorn, breadsticks, cheese sticks, garlic nuts.
Okay, that seems to be getting actually quite nice reception for a radio without any antenna. Obviously, it would just be using the power cord for the FM antenna. Now let's find a good AM station to tune into so we can test how high the volume goes.
To help curb gang violence in Haiti. India's first sending troops to the nation in June. Total deployment.
It is extremely distorted and not much louder than halfway up.
Use.
Right now, with an important alert, home title fraud is one of the fastest growing white-collar crimes in the country. Criminals can make
Oh, there goes the display again. Oh, jeez. There might actually be something wrong with this because I set it to 726 since that's what this thing was showing. And it now shows the thing I set it with shows 731, yet the new clock radio shows 735. I thought it might have been advancing a little quickly. Geez, that's not good. Yeah, now it says 736 already. And of course, in order to make it stop flashing now, I'm gonna have to press the minute button again. Oh, it's not registering because it's not in time set mode. Well, okay. I don't know what could be done to fix that.
This could be the result of asbestos exposure.
However, the radio itself on this thing does sound pretty nice. It's got a sleep timer of 1 hour. And pressing the doze button turns it off. Well, alright, there is the Panasonic RC-6050 vintage clock radio that is starting to show its age in terms of the internals not quite working right. Yeah, it already is up to 738 now. It's already 5 minutes fast, and the entire video hasn't even been going for 23 minutes yet. Alright, anyway. Oh, actually. Nope, I thought this was making a humming sound, but it's just coming from the stuff on the shelf up there. Alright, next up, I would say I need to go downstairs and, of course, pause the video in order to get the testing socket for these light bulbs. But I just recently was able to reorganize my storage closet up here, and I moved everything, all the light bulb collection, up here. I guess that's not really important to the video, but it feels great to be able to reorganize like that. And the closet is right here next to the place where I'm recording this, so I may have to move the tripod in order to open the door. Okay, here is the testing light socket. And now let's see if I can bring the testing power strip over here. Alright, I think that's good enough. And there it goes. Now, I'm not going to do an extended test in this video. Alright, I just want to make sure if I turn this off, I'm not going to be disconnecting anything else. And it's just the clock radio and some speakers. So, that should be okay. The radio is already saying 740. Although it actually has been 2 minutes since it said 738. Anyway, I'm not going to do an extended test in this video of these light bulbs, because that would just take too long, but we did see it working just now. and that was the 100 watt equivalent, which means I now have, I think, 5. I used to have a set of 4 EcoSmart, which actually EcoSmart's CFLs are quite good. The color rendering is good, and the lifespan is totally acceptable. I haven't had them die on me yet. What happens to the one of the 4 is it fell out of my overhead light fixture when I was trying to change it out. So, of course, it broke. Oh, let me just unplug the radio. Alright, and this one is working. The upper part of the tube is significantly dimmer than the lower part right now. But since I believe this is... yeah, this would be a 60 watt equivalent. It seemed like it was a little on the dim side, but like I said, the upper part of the tube was way dimmer than the lower part. So it looks like that one is working just fine. And that one is going as well. Okay, that will be it for all of the checkouts of the things I found at the thrift store today. Thank you for watching.